Hey guys, it's your favorite recapper, Jordan Ray, and I'm here in a different setting with a different person tonight. My friend,
Hi, I'm Kiera.
this is Kiera. She is known as the fan, right? The fan. She is going to tell us a little bit about herself, and just a little bit about how she's associated with the Florida Shores group and the Tea Pages and their drama and stuff like that. So grab a snack, grab some tea, and let's get into it, okay? Kiera, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Anything you want the audience to know?
There's not really much to me. I'm kind of just your basic old homebody type of girl. Currently in my life, I guess I could say I'm just wake up in the morning early, go to work, do my schoolwork. I'm in school for veterinary technician, and then I go to the gym, and then I come home, do my little scroll, probably asleep by 9 p.m. I'm
9
more of
p.m.
just I like to be around animals more than I like to be around people. Very to myself. I try to be the most articulate person I can be. I just, I'm simple.
Yeah. So my question for you is how did you like get started on TikTok? Like what made you like want to I know that you kind of like started in support of the group, right? And who specifically were you in support of starting out versus like who did you slowly become more of in support of towards like the end of being on TikTok and everything?
So I wouldn't say that I ever like specifically supported somebody.
Mhm.
I was a very silent listener for a very, very long time. Like I did not comment on anything. I would just solely back and forth between Kristen and Whitney, just like their stuff, send little comments. Oh my God, this is so cute, whatever.
Mhm.
And then over time, I think what made me speak out was when Kristen's pregnancy got leaked. That was kind of, I was like, this is literally so wrong, and like only like a minimal amount of people are speaking up about this. I met a
Mhm.
couple of girls through a live, and we started pretty much from there. Um, I do regret it, and I take accountability for like everything that I said because it was so wrong, but it was mainly like nobody was in support of Rachel and
Mhm.
everybody was in support of Kristen and Whitney. So
Okay.
that's kind of where it started. And then Trayvon and I got really close. We would just kind of chat about whatever. Originally started with like TikTok stuff, and
Right.
then eventually it turned into an actual blossoming friendship.
Yeah.
And from there, we had one live one night where we were just, I forgot what exactly we were talking about, but it had something to do with Whitney and Trayvon and like what they had gone through with like one of the exes.
Mhm.
And I forgot what I said, but the live ended up being cut short because somebody was like mass reporting it. And when I closed out of the live, I had a notification, Whitney started following you. And I was like,
Oh.
whoa, pump
Yeah.
the brakes. And Trayvon was like, yeah, no, she really likes you. I speak so highly of you. And from there, it just kind of send puppy videos back and forth through TikTok, just basic you just started being friends with somebody, and like
Right.
granted, yeah, the platform and like the TikTok drama and all of that, but I do my best when I connect with people like that to just kind of
Right.
I we don't have to be friends and talk about all that stuff. If you want me to
Yeah.
listen, I'll listen, but I'm a form of friendship with you outside of that.
Right.
So
So yeah, so you would say that you have friendships with Trayvon and Whitney outside of all that. And even I know you and I talked a little bit about how you're like super close with Soph and
I love
you
Soph.
feel like yeah, and we were talking about you feel like she kind of gets like a bad rap and everything with her
Mhm.
like reputation and how people are with her.
Yeah, I
Um,
think I
um
think whatever happens within friendships has nothing
mhm,
to do with me.
right.
If one side wants to come to me and be like, "Hey, this happened. This is how I feel." That's fine. It's not my business to go to the other
But
party and
you're
say
able to
something
like
about it.
separate that and
Yeah,
everything, right? Yeah, that's
100%.
good. That's amazing. Yeah, because I know I'm sure it's hard, but as long as they're not making you choose sides and you're able to ultimately still like remain like neutral and a good friend to both sides of everything,
Oh yeah.
like I mean, at the end of the day, that just makes you a better friend and a good person, you know?
I'm definitely
Um,
somebody that sticks with the whole like a friend to all is a friend to none, and that's why I
yeah.
really try to not be friends with everybody. But obviously, when I went to Whitney's birthday, I met Soph and I just like instantly clicked. Like we were floating through the lazy river of whatever place we went to.
Oh, the water
Soph,
park, yeah.
yeah, Soph grabbed her inner tube, and Trayvon and Whitney were talking, and then Soph just kind of floated up next to me, and it was history from there. We were floating
Oh,
around the
that's
river the
so
whole time.
funny. That's so funny. Yeah, it's nothing like a good friendship floating down the river.
Yep.
I know more recently you've been off the app, but before that you started getting close with like the T pages and everything. How did that happen? Like how did you start becoming closer with the T pages and everything and getting
So,
involved in like their drama? Who
um,
was your first T page friend?
Mama Softy.
Okay.
She, I don't remember exactly how the connection happened, but like
Hmm.
she went live one day and she was like, "Oh, Kiera," and had me
Hmm.
come up in the box, and then it was like from there I was just in the box all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was a lot of controversy behind it because it was very out there that I was friends with them, and a lot of people were like, "Why is this girl with T Page?" But
Oh, that's a good point.
it
Yeah.
wasn't it wasn't that I was up there to spill any beans or be a bad friend. I was
No, you have your
actually,
own life outside of the group though
yeah,
as well. So I mean anything you're talking about in the live doesn't even have to necessarily be about the group. Half the time the T
100%.
pages aren't even talking about the group anyway.
And when it was about the T Page or about the Florida Shore group, it was just if anybody had any like vile things to say or like
Yeah.
anything super negative or like anything that was debunked already and
Hmm.
proven to be a lie, if
Hmm.
they were in the comment sections talking about it, I was there to be like, no, that's not true.
Yeah.
It's been proven to not be true. It wasn't like I was up there to like solely talk about all of it. It was just anything that was very vile and like, you can't say that about another person. I was
Hmm.
just there to kind of cut in
Right.
and have it be done.
No, exactly. Yeah. No, I mean, and that's good though too, because a lot of the times, like I talked a little bit about in the first episode of my podcast about how, while I love pretty much all of the T pages, like I have no issues with anyone, it tends to become like a platform of hatred because like in the comment sections you either have the people who support the person that T page supports or they hate that person and then they're coming and then just saying all these things and stuff like that. So it's nice to have like a person who's able to like stick up for them and say what they need to say, like, and say, you know what, that's not true, like,
Hmm.
and like I feel like you are, regardless of who you like more or not, you're gonna still say what's right or what's wrong, you know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah.
not gonna just like make things up just because you're friends with Whitney or Trayvon or
I'm
anything.
definitely super neutral.
Yeah.
If anything was ever brought to me that,
Mhm.
I didn't have, something to back it with, I'm not gonna bring it online.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not for me to talk about. It's not for me. That's one thing that I've stood on
Mhm.
since even like becoming remotely known about is you can come to me about anything. It's not my business to talk about it.
Yeah. Right.
Everybody's favorite thing when, the whole Whitney and Tyler thing was happening recently, everybody would be like, Kira, what's your opinion? And I'd be like, not my relationship, not my
Yeah.
problem. I'm not
Right.
talking about it. Did I know a
Yeah.
lot about it? Absolutely. Whitney and
Right.
I sat in the garage for 2 hours while Soph and Trayvon were on live. We were just sitting in the garage with the dogs, literally just, she was like, what's your family like? And I was like, what's your family like? We
Mhm.
got to know each other based off those 2 hours because we just sat there and talked the whole time. So I knew a lot of things. Still not my business to talk about.
Mhm.
That's my friend.
Yeah.
She came to me about it. I'm not going to tell anybody about it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that's what I feel the same way. Like anything that I learn with in regards to talking to any of the creators, if I find out any information that's like personal and private from someone who sends me, I mean, I get videos, I get things sent to me of people and they're like, hey, you post this. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to post that, but I will message the creator and be like, hey, like this
Oh,
is
yeah.
kind of like what's going around. Like, I just want to let you know because that's just not my business to like be posting out there. I recap solely what is already out there.
Hmm.
I don't even want to give my opinion on it, but I'll just talk a little bit about it and just tell everybody kind of what's going on. But other than that, that's really it. I really want to stay out of the drama.
Hmm.
And I know you do too, but have you found yourself involved in like direct drama, like personal drama with like the T pages or just with people on TikTok?
Yeah, I'd say so. I
Hmm.
think since I started this, I've been through plenty of different friend groups of
Hmm.
girls, and it's mainly always all girls.
Yeah.
It always takes a turn for the worst. It's always something. This app has become something where like I used to love joining into the lives. I used to love, it's a rewarding feeling when you join into your friends' lives and all of them are like, "Oh my God, hi!" Like, and
No,
then
it's
you
like
join
instant
in.
gratification, exactly, and then also
Yeah,
all these people watching you, I feel like I'm on a TV show sometimes,
yeah,
like
and like it's
yeah.
fun. It's
Mhm,
fun, and you have people in the comments asking questions. You have people in the comments laughing with you.
mhm,
Inside jokes are spewing.
mhm.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's not fun anymore. It's
No,
not
it's
fun.
not. It's very scary to go live, and it's very intimidating, and you never know who's watching you, who's
Hmm.
recording you, who's talking about you, who's on the phone screen sharing, watching your live, like
You never
creating more
know.
issues.
You never know who's mad at who for being in somebody's live, being in somebody's
Mhm.
box. Like,
If you say someone's name, like you come into my live and I go, "Hey, Kiera," in the comments, and then someone's listening and they're like, "Oh, guess who just went into Jordan's
mm,
live?" You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's so
it's
uncomfortable.
it's sad because it's one of those things where so when the T page drama really started, my friend and I, everybody was like, we love Kira and Nani because we just didn't give a shit.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, yes, I mean, it comes to a point where, to a certain extent, it is that deep, but at the end of the day, it's not that deep. It's really not
Right.
that deep. I mean, this is an app. None of these people are ever going to meet each other in person unless you are really like that locked in. And you just, through a screen, you're never going to know somebody's true intentions. And
Yeah, no.
my favorite thing
Not
to say,
unless you're, like, talking to them on the phone, like, every single
yeah.
day and, like, getting to know them, but
Well,
even still, I mean,
yeah, even
even
then
still.
even then people can put on a fake face,
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing to always say is you're never gonna know somebody's true intentions until you sit down with them in person because it's literally, like, scientifically proven, like, your heart waves bounce off of each other, your mind waves bounce off of each other,
Mhm.
you get a feel for it.
Yeah,
Still
the
even
energies
then.
and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
I still even then, they do say that it takes about 3 months, 3
Mhm,
months to, like, really see someone's true intentions, and I
mhm.
feel like I always, like, will ignore red flags. It typically takes me about, like I'll hang on for, like, 4 or 5, but
Yeah.
then it's like, "Okay, like, I can see this," and then I mean, I've had friendships that's lasted forever and then ends because, you know what, I'm just like, "Damn, like, I can't take this anymore." Like, it's
Mhm.
been years of just, like,
Or
this
it's
is
just
just,
like or it's like one
enough
thing
is
that
enough.
sets you off.
Yeah, and then you just explode, and then now you're the psychopath, so
Yeah.
yeah, I get it.
But
I mean, totally.
it's not fun anymore, and I definitely it got to a point where like I wanted to enjoy time with my friends and have it
Mhm.
be that like us just be on live like just laughing our asses off and like having
Yeah.
a good time, and it got so frustrating, and like I would stick up for people, but then it came to a point where like you were sticking up for people that weren't doing the same for you, or you were
Yeah.
sticking up for
Yeah.
people that didn't really appreciate you sticking up for them. So I kind of
Or
stopped.
you're sticking up for people who are actually doing the things they're being
Yes,
accused of, and you don't
yes,
know that. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So it got to that point, and so I started to take a step back. And the only time that I would ever say something would be if my name was brought into it,
Mhm.
because I was just there for the funsies.
Mhm.
And if somebody was very blatantly wrong and obvious about it, yeah, I'd put my opinion into it.
Mhm.
But once somebody like really started dragging my name, then I would have something to like come back with, and there's been a couple where I didn't have such nice things to say, and I think people
Yeah.
at this point have realized that, when I get to a point of not caring, I'm not nice
Yeah.
at all. I don't
Yeah, and you're
care.
not one to fuck with for sure. You're gonna say it exactly how it is, and, yeah.
I will hurt somebody's feelings, and I don't necessarily like doing that, but when it comes down to it and this app and
Mhm.
how seriously people take it,
Oh, yeah.
I will hurt somebody's
Yeah.
feelings.
Yeah, no, for sure. And with how serious people take it, that brings me to the question of have you tried to protect any of your personal information and had it like leaked or anything during drama? Like, cause a lot of these people have leaked a
Yeah.
lot of personal information about a lot of people and stuff like that. Like maybe like you just didn't want anybody knowing it and it got out anyway.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Definitely. I mean, sometimes you turn around and you trust people with certain information and they just
Yeah.
poof have
Yeah.
something to say about it. And they
Yeah.
twist it and they spew it out in a different light than it's actually
Yeah.
what it is. So
Have you ever had anybody pretend to be your friend, but they were like behind your back talking to like somebody you thought was like an enemy or anything? Yeah.
Absolutely. Which is
Yeah.
so, it's so weird. Such a weird energy. It's like it, I sit here sometimes and I think about it and I'm like, it literally costs nothing. It's no
Mhm.
energy to sit here and have a conversation like this
No, and just communicate. I
and
call it
just
like the evil
yeah.
eye. I feel like when people are doing that, they're only being your friend to like watch you and see like what you're going to accomplish because they don't want you to accomplish anything. And then they're talking bad about you because they really secretly are jealous or envious
Mhm.
or they just don't actually like you.
Yeah.
But I actually saw a TikTok the other day that said someone who immediately becomes your enemy after a small misunderstanding was
Was
never your
never.
friend to begin with. They were like basically plotting,
Hmm.
even if it was just subconsciously. Maybe they didn't even know they were plotting, but like the moment someone becomes your enemy, as soon as you stop being friends, they were plotting against you the whole time, essentially.
And
Yeah.
I will say, I noticed that recent events.
Hmm.
Um, the end of the year is not good for me. I don't know if you specifically have seen, but between, pretty much everybody that I've met through social media, it's pretty out there that pretty much from September to December, well, October to December, it's
Hmm.
not good for me.
Like
September,
energetically, or you've had a lot of bad things happen in your
a
life
lot of
between that
bad
time.
things happen.
Okay.
September specifically, I received two medical diagnoses that just completely altered my life completely. September is also my ex's birthday, and my ex died in a car accident in 2022. So the end
When's
of the
his
year,
birthday?
September 18th.
Okay, mine's September 30th, so
You're
that's
yeah, you're down at the bottom. But that month just it's not a good month for me. So, I had completely shut down and I'm pretty open about the grieving process
Mhm,
in the beginning of it. When he first passed, I was a wreck for about a week and then I think my mind and my heart just completely like shut down and was in
mhm.
complete denial.
Yeah,
And it seems like the farther we get to like it's been a year, it's been two
yeah.
years,
Does it get harder?
it gets harder for me.
Yeah. It gets so
And
much harder. I don't know why. Like,
mhm,
there's just something about grief and loss that, like, people say, like, oh, with time it gets better. I feel like it doesn't get better. You just learn how to, like, live
mhm,
without that person. Like, essentially, it's weird. I mean, the only loss I've ever experienced, which is still a horrible loss, is my grandfather.
mhm,
I mean, he's very close to me, but he died in 2018. And it doesn't hurt anymore for me personally. I mean, like, I can't imagine losing like a spouse or like my
mhm,
parents. Like I really like that. Like, but it hit me hard when he passed away, and it has not gotten easier for my
mhm,
grandmother. In fact, her mental health, they were together for 67 years. She now is having like dementia. It's getting worse, like, because she is medicating herself. Like, she is like on pills, on pills, on pills. Like, because she can't deal with it.
mhm.
Like she can't deal with anything. Like she can't sleep at night and everything like that because she lost the love of her life. And it doesn't get easier for her. Like she literally is in a state of constant denial, just literally thinking that he's hunting, he's at the campsite, because that's easier for her than to admit to herself that he is gone forever and she's gonna have to live out the rest of her life without him.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely it's not easy. Granted, we weren't really together at the time.
Right.
I was in a separate relationship at that time, but it's still hard. It doesn't get easier, and
Well,
for
if you still have love for that person, you're not enemies or whatever, like you still like feel love for
it
that
was
person and
never it
stuff.
was never bad terms. It just simply like after he passed away, I was more connected with some people in his life, and one of
Mhm.
them had turned to me and they were like, I should have told you this sooner, but you know, Jew was always so nervous around you. He was always so worried that he was going to mess it up with you, and that's why
Mhm.
like he kept you away from all the bullshit that he was involved
Mhm.
in because he loved you and he cared about you. And it was like hearing that after he passed, oh my god, sent me for a
Yeah.
whirlwind, and I
Oh,
didn't hear about
yeah.
it. I didn't hear about it for like a couple days after he passed, but
Did
I
that
was
give
in
you some kind of closure, or do you feel like that made it almost worse for you because you wish you could have had that conversation with
I feel
him?
like it was a mix of both because
Yeah.
it gave me I mean, I already knew that he cared about me.
Mhm.
Actually, just the other day, I was going through my camera roll and I came across two different screenshots that were taken June 3rd. He passed away May 31st. and or 30th. It's either or. My days are messed up. It was Memorial Day weekend. Um, so it was a couple days after, and he had viewed my TikTok and he had favorited two of my Visco pictures the day he passed
Mhm.
away. It was like hours before he passed away. And he, not in a sense of like he was interfering with the relationship that I was in, but I was in a separate relationship and he would
Mhm.
text me pretty much every single day, just being like,
Right.
just here to remind you, you're beautiful. I hope he's treating
Oh.
you right.
Mhm.
And just
Which
to
is
remind
nice,
me
but
that he was there.
obviously that can, that kind of like keeps you guys like tied in
Yeah.
a way. Like there's like a soul tie kind of there. And it's hard
Yeah.
for you to probably like move on and be totally dedicated to the other relationship if you still have some kind of feelings for that person
It
that's
was it
texting you
was
those
more of
things.
like a it was he was doing it in a friendly way. Obviously, yes, that love and that care was still there, but he was doing it in a way of just being like, hey, like if he's not treating you right, you can talk to me, you can leave,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can
You know
leave.
where home is. Yeah.
Yeah, kind
Yeah.
of. But with that all being said, the end of the year is very hard, and there's just like an 8 month window
Hmm.
that is very, very hard for me. Summertime, forget it, I'm free.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
rest of the year, though, it's not easy for me because, his birthday comes up and then a couple months later, it's the day he passed away. So it's like,
God, I'm so
it's
sorry.
hard.
That's horrible.
And on
Yeah.
top of that, other things that I went through, 2022 specifically, just, I lost 5 people that year.
Oh.
And I had 2 diagnoses. It was like, that year just was not it for me.
Hmm.
And so when it gets towards like the end of the year, that time, holiday season as well, it's not good for me. And
Yeah.
I started to shut down because of that. And also just the weight of all the TikTok drama was
Hmm.
so overwhelming and it was so hard to deal with.
Hmm.
And I knew myself and I knew I'd have some pretty messed up things to say if somebody messed with me in that point.
Right. Because you
That
were
like,
already in such a vulnerable state. Yeah.
oh, my mouth will get me canceled. I know that
Yeah.
for a certain fact. I will get canceled. I have a bad mouth,
Yeah.
especially when I'm in a position like that. So all of this stuff was going down. And to lead back to what you had originally said about, one little thing, they weren't
Hmm.
your friend. I noticed like after I kind of went through that, I kicked back up a little bit. And, I was involved in some more TikTok drama for like, I think it was like 2 or 3 days. And then I
Hmm.
just completely shut down after that. I decided to choose peace. I decided to be cordial with everybody. Obviously, there are certain people involved in those situations that know their limits with me and know that they
Right.
either can't communicate with me or they have a barrier boundary when they contact me or, the people that are cool with me. And it got to a point where everybody was so wrapped up in it. I don't know if you ever saw me in any of the lives, but between all sides, I went into every live and I was like, you guys just need to cut it out. You
Hmm.
guys just need to stop because this is embarrassing on all parts. Like, cops were being called, cease and desist were being filed.
Hmm.
Like,
People's kids are being posted.
yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
it was going so crazy. Like it just like I was like, you guys, all of you need to stop. I don't want to see
Yeah.
another person post something. Like you
Yeah.
guys want my input so bad, and I'm always here for you guys, but I'm not gonna stick around for this.
Yeah.
Literally less than 12 hours later, everybody was on live talking about it again. So I just threw
Oh,
my
yeah.
hands
No,
up in
it's
the air.
so bad. I mean, it is crazy. And like, I've never seen anything like this on just like a day-to-day basis. Like it is simply just with I mean, I don't know, I'm not on any other side of TikTok at this point, but I've been on TikTok for like 4.5 years. I've never seen the drama
It's
like this. Like I've been
so
in certain
bad.
groups with drama, but I have never seen the drama where 7 a.m. you're friends and then by 5 p.m. you're enemies. Like and crying and attacking each other and everything like that.
Hmm.
And I don't know what it is. And you know what's crazy? And I hope that nobody tries to shoot me for saying this, but I feel like a lot of these people behind the T pages, there's a lot of them that have a lot in common. A lot of these people come from like a lot of the same struggles, a lot of
Hmm.
the same like situations and everything like that. And it's like y'all are putting this out there about each other, but you've experienced that. Like you've been through that, or you have family members who have been through
Mhm.
that. So why? Why are you posting this stuff? Why are you posting this person's kids? Why are you posting this person's criminal record? Like when you have the same thing, or your parents do, or your friends do, like everybody comes from like very similar walks of life to some degree. And I just never seen anything like it before. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know,
I
correct
think
me if
it
I'm wrong for saying that.
No, I 100% agree with you,
Mhm.
and don't shoot me for saying this, but I think it boils down to who wants to be top dog, which is so weird. It's
Yeah.
the attention and it's the entertainment aspect of it. The second I decided to choose peace, and the second I was like, you know what? I'm 24 years old. Like,
Hmm.
I'm trying to focus on school. I'm trying to
Yeah.
pay attention to my job. I shouldn't be staying up till 1:30 in the morning arguing with user 75 25 37. Like I shouldn't what am I doing?
No,
And
literally.
I decided to choose peace. I decided
Mhm.
to stop sticking up for people. The only person I was sticking up for was myself, and I did that
Mhm.
privately with people who had my name in their mouth. And
Yeah.
whether it was taken to social media or it wasn't, I let it go.
Yeah.
As soon as I did that, I started to notice the unfollowings coming,
Yeah.
certain people, removing me from certain things. And
Mhm.
it gets to a point where you grow out of
It's
it.
so weird too because I will see someone on my For You page, like especially like when it comes to like even the T pages in general,
Mm-hmm.
unfollowed, like it will say still following but not friends or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I know why I got unfollowed, but what's funny is that I'm genuinely not involved in
Yes.
any of the drama. But the
Yes.
reason I was unfollowed was because I might maybe was in the comment section of a live, or I was maybe jumped in a box really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so it's crazy. I will get unfollowed for things like that and because people will assume, oh well, she's obviously involved, or she
Mm-hmm.
knows what's going on, or she's no, I have my own personal beef with my own personal people, and none of y'all will
Yes.
know about it because I'm not going to talk about it unless I do want to talk about it. It will be on my platform, whether that's on my podcast or my account.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, the people who need to know what's going on in my life know what's going on in my life. Otherwise, I'm not going to just call you. Have I ever just called you up and I would consider you a close acquaintance. I've never just called you up and been like, "Hey, here's what's going on in my life. Like, do you want to know you know what I mean?" Until we
I
kind of
mean,
just
you can now moving forward.
yeah, right. Now going forward, let me tell you the tea. But like I'm not gonna do that. Like if people come to me and ask me what's going on or whatever, like I'm going to answer accordingly to my like closeness to that person. Otherwise, I feel like you're just being nosy at that point and you're just
Exactly.
trying to like get involved because you never know who's asking questions so that they can go run to the other side or run to another person. And
Hmm.
like, you could be I am like an open book. I am like Blabby Abby. And I'm like, hey, so like this is what's going on and blah blah blah
That's
blah.
exactly how I am. It
I'm
bites
like
me in the ass.
texting. Next thing you know, my fucking screenshots are posted on this person's page,
Yes.
and this is posted on. I'm just like, oh, like what's going? I'm like throwing up in the toilet, like dry heaving. I'm like, I,
That's
you know,
exactly how I am. I'm a very open
yeah,
book. I like to blab. I like to talk.
yeah,
Recently,
but not about anybody's like personal life. Like genuinely,
yeah,
like I don't want to hurt anybody, but I definitely am an open book, and I don't think I'm doing anything wrong.
I talk
And
about my stuff. I talk about the
yeah,
stuff that I'm involved in.
yeah, right,
I actually recently posted something on like my Snapchat private story for like my
hmm,
people in person. And
yeah,
if anybody like religiously follows me or like any of my friends, they know
hmm,
that I haven't posted a thing since like I don't know, I think it was Christmas.
yeah.
I
You haven't
I've
posted in a while.
I've been gone, and I posted something on my private story. I caved, but I
Like
caved on
something
the
petty
Snapchat.
or
I caved on the Snapchat, but I said
yeah.
something like, "Every time I open my mouth, I get myself in trouble."
Hmm.
And then it's just I love to share. I love like having
Yeah.
people in my life, but
That's why I love
and
social media and like
yeah.
such. I just
And
love it.
another thing I learned from all of this drama is, I mean, I knew this ahead of time, but I'm not somebody that likes to argue. If you're
Mhm,
going to be upset about something, put your fists up and do something about it.
mhm.
That's the type of person that I am. And I noticed like all the arguing and the yelling and like
Yeah.
going at it on social media, my palms get clammy. My feet start sweating. I'm sweating because I don't want to argue with anybody. I'm a
Right. You just will
fighter.
handle it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like I've just been like curb stomping bitches since I can remember. Like, Can you see that? Can you like see me like curb stomping someone
I'm
and
not gonna
like
lie, no, because you're such a nice individual.
I've never been in a fist fight ever in my life. I'm joking. I've never. And if some, I mean, I know what I'm capable of. Like, keep talking
Mm.
shit. I've got like I know what to do here with these okay, these guns, but
I
no,
do
I've
I
never
do
been in a
hope
fight ever in my life.
I do hope to curb stomp somebody someday.
Now, like a friendship, a girl, like you're gonna make me cry, but like a man, let's go. Like I will fight a man for sure.
See,
Like, do not disrespect me.
I
But a
actually I
woman, like I'm gonna
actually
back down.
I actually reposted something today. I've been in the gym since October. I've been doing really, really good, really
Mhm.
consistent. I'm seeing so much progress, but I came across something today that was like, go to the gym so you can beat on your man.
I just want to say I do not condone domestic violence here, you guys. But let me just say, if like somebody is, if a man is talking, like I'm sure we can all agree, if a man is
Yes.
talking out of fucking pocket and disrespecting you, or even trying to intimidate you,
Mm.
like come
Or
on,
if
give
he
him the
hits
old
you,
one two.
if
If
he
he hit,
hits
yeah,
you, it's fair
it's fair
game.
game.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, give
Mhm.
him the old one two, and then they'll be like shocked, like, oh, I'm
There's
sorry, I called
there's
you a bitch.
there's domestic violence, and then there's your boundaries got crossed.
Right, retaliate. Yeah, don't
Yes.
disrespect me. Like
Yeah.
exactly. No, for
100%.
sure. For sure. Is there anything in your life, like in regards to drama or like friendships or anything like that, like things that you've been through in your personal life? If there's anything you could change, what would it be? Like, do you have any
That's a
regrets?
that's a good question.
Thank you. What can I say?
I think it would be not being so trusting with
Oh,
people.
that's what MST said in hers too.
Yeah, I definitely, like I said before, I'm a very open book, and as much as I'm quick to cut somebody off,
Mhm.
I'm very quick to accept them into my life. I'm very
Yeah.
quick to like, you're like, "Hi, oh my God, you're so pretty." And I'm like, "LOL, guess what happened to me in 2017?" And I just
I'm like literally yes. I'm like yeah. You know what? I have trauma. I feel like my parents didn't love me, and like I
I'm
have
like
abandonment issues.
I'm like, LOL, there was such a thick Nilla folder in the courtroom that had to do with my parents' custody case. You want to hear about it?
Oh my God. Yeah, no. Like, yeah, you want to hear about my IBS? Because I have diarrhea often. Like, everyone's like,
Yes.
yeah. Like, how
It
about every
was,
man that I've ever been with cheats on me and gets back with their ex within 3 months because they were never not in love with their ex. They just like, I'm always the freaking, always a bridesmaid, never a fucking bride bitch. You know what? Now I want to
fact.
fight somebody. Oh my
No,
God.
it definitely stems from one of my diagnoses in
Mhm.
2022 was borderline personality disorder. And
Really? Wait,
yes.
that's not, no, that's not the same thing as bipolar
Mm-mm.
disorder. Okay.
So if you look it up, there is like a study that is like it's in you feel things in such extremes. Like it's
Okay.
kind of like somebody with third degree burns all over their body. They get
Okay.
touched. They're in agonizing pain. You're like, dude, somebody just poked you. It's not that big of a deal. That's
Okay.
what it's like up here. Like the slightest thing, the slightest change in routine, the slightest change in tone, the slightest just anything sends me for a fucking loop.
Well, I kind of like bottle up my shit and I let it bottle up and bottle up and bottle up and then I explode.
Mhm.
But I feel everything. Like I'm very intuitive. I can feel
Mhm.
everything. I can notice a shift in energies and it makes me like physically ill. Like I can feel it.
Mhm.
And it really bothers me. And it's something I cannot let go. And I will annoy the fuck out of people because I'm just like, why are you acting differently? Like, why does this really like, do you think this person dislikes me? Does
Mhm.
this person not like me? And they're like, no, like, why do you think that? And I'm like, because I can tell, like, just by their
It
energy, like the
it
way that they are.
forms it forms differently. They say that not every BPD person is the same.
Hmm.
For me specifically, and obviously you have to like go through therapy and like a psychiatrist and be diagnosed with this.
Hmm.
I personally don't do therapy anymore. I don't
Okay.
think it helps me. It's not something that ever really helped me. I had it very young. I did it for that small window of time, got the diagnosis, and I was like, okay. And they were like, medication that makes you a zombie, therapy. I was like, no.
Yeah.
I've
And
become,
I want to ask you really quick though, with therapy, do you feel like it's because you're already well aware of your issues? Like, a lot of people
yeah.
go to therapy to kind of figure out their issues, but then it's kind of like once you figure it out, you kind of have to learn to either like cope with them and like
Mhm.
therapy can help with that. But I have struggled with therapy as well in the past because like I am very, very well aware of why like I can psychiatrically diagnose myself. Like I can tell you, oh, because this happened when I was 3, this is
Hmm.
how my parents were, this is this and this is this. So when I go to therapy, it's kind of just like, well, I really don't want to start at the beginning because there's just like so much that I could like tell you right now, but like it's just a lot. I feel like therapy is overwhelming for me,
Yeah.
honestly.
It's for me too. There's some trauma with therapy too. A
Yeah.
therapist that I had when I was young was paid off.
Oh.
So it was like it was an actual therapy. I was being lied to. And that stems with the whole court case.
Oh my
um,
God.
but it's for me, I'm super self-aware.
Hmm.
I know when I do certain things. I can acknowledge when I'm messing up. For example, my relationships.
Hmm.
When I fall for somebody, or, I get this idea in my head of somebody and like a future, I'm locked in.
Yeah.
And the slightest throw off throws me off
Hmm.
completely. I can acknowledge it, but there's nothing that I can do to stop it. I
Yeah.
can manage it, and as of lately, it's gotten less and less. I did go through like a certain situation where like my friends at the time were involved, and it became like this whole big like I can't say too much without it being very obvious what it was, but
Hmm.
it was like everybody turned their backs on me, and
Hmm.
immediately it woke me up a little bit. I was like, yeah, I don't want to be around people who treat me like that. Like
Yeah.
they were telling me things that I needed to hear,
Right.
but they were doing it in the wrong way.
Right.
And the way that they went about it entirely was really fucked up. And it woke me up, it opened my eyes, and now I'm very quick to just one wrong move, you're done. Because I was told, like, when it comes to relationships, like, when you're looking for a person in
Hmm.
this day and age, it is very, 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 very hard to find a significant other that is actually looking for the things that you are looking for.
Yeah, and it's
Somebody that
scary
checks off all of your boxes.
and
Somebody
doesn't
that,
have their own severe trauma.
yes, and well, even then, like, somebody can have their own severe trauma, but are they willing to work through that trauma
Well,
with you?
right. That's what, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
It's
Exactly. Yeah.
like somebody that checks off all your boxes, somebody that's willing to do that, somebody that's attentive, somebody that's caring, somebody that
Hmm.
just is willing to go through life with you. Your morals align, everything
Hmm.
that you want for your future aligns. Granted, yes, you could have the entire package and it just simply doesn't work out. But
Yeah.
I was always told, you have to make them chase you. You have to make them chase you. You have to play the game. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I don't want to chase.
I
I
don't
don't
want to
want
play a game.
to. I
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm 29.
exactly.
Like I don't have time for that shit. I just recently
Exactly.
snapped out of like this phase of, but throughout from the time I started like liking boys and I will
Mhm.
as I was 12, I literally had like this craving of like I need to like have this boyfriend and I need to
Mhm.
create this like family. So I'm like 12
Yes.
years old, like I'm your wife. Let's do this. Like sixth
Mhm.
grade, like I'm like locked in and these boys are like, what? Like
That's
I was
exactly.
so into the relationships, like, oh my God, like everything was like the notebook, like this romance
Mhm.
novel. And these boys did not feel that way. You know what I mean? We're
Mhm.
kids, we're 12, 13, 14. Then high school, I'm like getting boyfriends and stuff like that, and then you're intimate with guys, and these
Mhm.
guys don't give a fuck about you. You know what I mean? Like we grew up in a time where just there ain't no romance or anything like
Mhm.
that anymore, and so like the guys just don't care, and like I said, there's my experience, they're all in love with their exes, and
Mhm.
and so
It's
like I
you
like
won't.
started giving my body to these
Mhm.
guys in hopes that they would like me, and
Yeah.
I'm sleeping with different guys and stuff, like not like a lot of them, well, I mean, whatever, like don't judge me, but like you start
Everybody
like
has their
being,
past.
you know what I mean? But like you start like any guy that I was with, and I'm like, oh, I like this guy. I want him to like me. I felt like there was no boundaries to where I could say, oh, I don't want to have sex with this guy. Like I want to like save myself for if he does like me or not.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking like, well, what value do I have if I don't give them this, because they're not going to like me anymore. And it's a horrible thing to feel as like a
Mhm.
woman, like you have no other value other than to give your body to a man
Which is
because they may not like you anymore. And that's essentially kind of like what's been like burned in my head. And it wasn't until, it's crazy. I was very thin. I was thinner. I've always had like curves and stuff like that, but I was thinner in high school. Like I had a nice body. I
awful.
thought I was disgusting. Now, since having a child, I'm overweight, like, but I'm losing weight. I've lost a lot of weight, but regardless, I love my body more now and I love myself more now, to where like I literally left, me and my son's father are not together. I've had guys have hit me up like, "Oh, let me come over, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Okay, the idea sounds fun. Like I'm bored, like
Mhm.
whatever." And I'm like,
Like, no,
"Ew.
I just,
Ew. Like I
I'm,
don't want that.
I'm so with you on that.
I
And,
don't want it. I don't want to have to give my body to somebody who
I
doesn't even
got,
like me."
I got over the hookup culture phase, I think there's a couple of hall passes right now.
Yeah.
But
Jada.
cut that out. Cut that out.
No, I'm not cutting nothing out. I said it in the first
No,
episode. I'll say it in
no.
this episode.
In
Call me.
in in my personal in my personal life. Um but it's just I don't want to chase. I don't want to be chased. I don't want to
Hmm.
play the game.
Hmm.
It's for me, I grew up
Hmm.
very well enough off.
Hmm.
Like not it was not good at all. But, I did have somewhat of a childhood,
Hmm.
but my every home that I lived in was completely broken, like shattered at that.
Yeah.
So my
If you don't
biggest
mind me
thing,
asking, were you in foster care?
no, it was
Oh, no.
just
Okay.
between like my dad, my stepmom, my grandma, my aunt, my
Hmm.
mom, my uncle, like the
Hmm.
bouncing back and forth and like
Hmm.
thinking that we're good, we're sturdy. No, here
Right.
I go being transported back and forth hours on
Hmm.
end, like everybody fighting in front of me, everybody kind of waving me as a flag, as a trophy in the courtroom. Like it
Yeah.
just,
Do you find yourself comfortable in chaos because of like, do you find yourself to where, or does it make you like extremely uncomfortable? I find myself like where I think in my mind consciously that I'm like, "Oh, I hate drama. I hate this. I hate that." But then I almost find myself constantly in it.
I think it's very
And
50-50. I think it
I'll
depends on
never
the
forget a
situation.
therapist had said to me that because of how I grew up with like divorces and things like that and fighting and everything like
Mhm,
that, I actually find comfort in the chaos because
mhm.
it's what I'm used to. And I'm like, she asked me, she said, "What would you do if it was just silent around you? Like there was no
Oh,
drama, no." And I said, "I never thought about that." Like, oh my God, it just gave me chills even saying that, because I'm like, I've never even thought about that. Like, there's
I
never
think
silence.
I think for me it kind of varies.
Hmm.
When it comes to like social media and stuff like that, I think old me
Hmm.
definitely. And when I say old me, if you haven't talked to me in the past 3 months, you don't know who I am because
Well,
I
nice to meet you. I haven't talked to you in a while.
I'm new. I'm a
Yeah.
completely different person, and
Uh,
I've definitely had like a complete full 180. Like
hmm.
the old me 100% found comfort in the chaos.
Hmm.
Now I want nothing but peace.
Yeah.
And
And that's on
I
healing.
would
That is on
say
healing.
as much as I do say, I don't want to chase, I don't want to be chased. I think when it comes to like finding a relationship and somebody that I want to love and have that reciprocated, I think I find comfort in that chaos
Yeah. Yeah.
because for me, I think I've always chased love.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
know I know my dad deep down loves me, but I feel like the way he went about certain things, I felt like I was constantly fighting for his love.
Right. And
And
for a version of love that you wanted from
yeah,
him. Yeah. Understandable.
and when I say like it was so broken growing up, and like as I got older finding more and more stuff out and then things still being broken,
Hmm.
I think it's hard because I'm like you said before, if somebody tells me the right thing, I mean, granted now I'm very quick to like if somebody tells me something, I'm like, well, I have to see it. I don't believe your
Yeah.
fucking words. You can't sit here and tell me, oh my God, I love you, I'm gonna marry you. Because a week from now, after you get in my pants, or after I do something where you're like, yeah, she's wrapped around my finger, you're gonna start acting different.
Yeah, and then that affects me. It like affects you,
Yeah.
it affects me. Like I start like feeling you pull away. I think
Hmm.
I really am I'm actually scared to attempt another relationship at some point.
Hmm.
I know it will happen for me one day. Me and my son's father were together for 9 years. So
Hmm.
literally since I was 19, like it's very scary to me because I know I have a lot of trauma and like triggers and stuff like that, and I'm so like emotionally numb right now that I don't even think that like even if Prince Charming knocked at my door right now that I would be able to reciprocate those
Well,
emotions for somebody.
I can give you some advice in that sense, being somebody who has constantly had chaotic relationships.
Hmm.
Straight out the gate, like obviously I don't really count like middle school or high school relationships.
No, no, yeah, yeah,
As soon as I turned 18, I was in a 3 year long abusive relationship through and
yeah.
through, everything under the sun. It started off very like verbally, mentally, and
Hmm.
emotionally, and towards the end, it was very physical.
Hmm.
And I found myself this this relationship, had I continued to stay in it, would have probably gotten me killed.
Yeah,
Or I did he I did suffer a miscarriage with him. And when anybody ever asks me what's your biggest dream, it's always being a mom. My
right.
biggest dream is to be a mom because I want to break the generational curse. I want to be
Yeah,
the one that gets married once and never divorces, never gets married again. I want my
I wanted
kids.
that too. That's why I've tried so hard
Yes.
with my son's father, but
Mhm.
it's just
I want
at
my
this
kids
point, I don't know.
under one roof their whole life. I want my
Hmm.
kids well off. I want my kids to go to college. I want my kids. I don't ever want my daughter to come up to me and be like, "Mom, you don't get it. I can't let go of him." I don't
Hmm.
ever want that. I want to teach my daughter straight out the gate, fall in love, do what you need to do. Use those feelings, use those emotions, but don't ever let a man tell you what twice he doesn't want you.
Yeah.
Don't ever do that, because I sat there repeatedly, oh my
God,
God,
that's great
sure.
advice because I can think of how many times in 9 years I let my freaking
Mhm.
ex tell me things that I should have never stayed for. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like,
You can't ever let a man tell you twice that he doesn't want you. And even after that 3 year long relationship, again, I was so like, okay, well, I want to have two kids by the time I'm 24. I want to be married by the time I'm 23. I'm 18. I got 5 years for this shit. I need to do it
mhm,
now.
mhm,
I was so desperate for that. And as much as the miscarriage broke me and as much as it hurt me, I know that it was the universe, God, whatever you believe in, telling me like that was not for you. That was
yeah,
not for you.
right.
And I found myself flowing through relationships after that. And my advice to you is, even though you're scared to get into a relationship, do it.
Just
Because for
yeah.
me, he was all I knew. Granted, him and I were on and off for 3 years, so it was like,
Mhm,
I'd have him for 3 months and then he'd disappear for four, and I'd get into a relationship almost immediately because I couldn't stay single. I could not fathom being alone. I had a life
right.
that I wanted to plan. I had a life that was waiting for me.
Mhm,
And I found myself using those toxic behaviors towards other people. And, I was able to apologize. I was able to acknowledge where I went wrong. I was able
mhm,
to grow from it. I saw it as character development, even though in the moment I didn't realize, oh my God, I'm treating this person how he was treating me. Eventually, I got onto it. Within those 3 years, I went through probably like seven other relationships.
yeah,
It was crazy. I literally could not stay single, but every single one of them taught me something. And I'm at a point now where somebody recently came back into my life that I never thought would come back.
yeah,
And granted, he was simply coming back to apologize, but it when he called me, hearing his voice again sent me into like you don't hear from somebody for years and you hear their
Right.
voice for the first time again. Oh my God, it sends you back into like something so crazy in those feelings. I was like, shit, shit, shit. Like, am I going to get out of this? Like, am I going to
Yeah.
start living in Delulu land? Like, is he coming back to apologize? Is he coming back to be mean to me again? Is he coming back to get in my pants? Is he coming
Hmm.
back to be back together with me? I immediately cut it off. He
Hmm.
wanted to speak in person and he wanted to apologize in person. I don't know what overcame me. I was at work. I was sitting on the toilet. I was peeing. I didn't even have my phone in my hand. And it was like, it was a couple of days after, because I told him, I said, you need to give me a couple of days to process this. I'm, we can talk in person. We're long overdue for a conversation, but I need a couple of days. And I'm so proud of myself because I was sitting there for days, like configuring in my brain, like, what is he going to say? What is it going to be? What's going to
Right.
be moving forward? And I'm sitting on the toilet and I'm at work and I'm just like, oh, I don't even care.
Right.
I got done. I went to my phone. I told him, if it's taken you 2 years to want to apologize, if it's taken you 2 years to tell me, I wish you well, I wish you the best, save it. I don't want to hear it. I'd rather
Wow.
you just didn't. Because
Yeah.
it comes to a point where I forgive him, but I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Because
No, I mean, yeah.
you left me to kind of deal with that on my own.
Hmm.
So it's been
And
dealt
now
with
you just want me
on
to be
my
on
own.
your time. Like, yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
not getting that. You
No,
have
exactly.
to you have to look at every relationship that you get in as a lesson. You have to look at
Yeah.
it as character development because as much as I want to find my person,
Mhm.
it sucks to say it, I may never. However, I saw something last night that literally
If you
made
don't,
me
I'll be your person one day. We can just be
perfect.
lesbians together.
Perfect.
I got you.
Uh, I actually saw something on TikTok last night. I can't believe they're banning the app. I'm gonna cry.
I
Um,
hope not. I'm
I
like
hope not
holding out fucking hope, bro.
because
Like I swear to God, I
I
just
came
started becoming famous. Okay, like come on. Did you
I
see I
came
went live
across
with Perez Hilton?
I think that was crazy. Um
Crazier than me going to dinner with Whitney.
I came across a video last night that was like it was like you want to break a generational curse, but you keep finding comfort in the generation that caused the curse. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, ho, did you just shoot me? Like, well, hold my hand first." I know that my person is out there and,
Yeah.
going back to grieving Julian, a part of me wonders, was he my person? Because he was the most attentive. He was literally full package for me.
Yeah.
And it just simply didn't work out. And why? A part of me wonders if, I'm supposed to go through life giving everybody love and showing people what love is.
I can't imagine that. I mean, I have to imagine that he maybe you can have like a soul tie or like a twin
Hmm.
flame, but maybe he's not like your soulmate because I have to imagine that like God, the universe, whatever you believe in or whatever, wouldn't put someone on this earth that is for you. And oh God, that's just like so hard to say, like, and then just take him away because it happens all the time. But like, I have to imagine that
I will
it's like a
say,
lesson. It's like a lesson to learn to maybe love yourself the way that he
hmm
loved you. But
hmm
you'll find when you love yourself that way, you will find somebody who loves you the
hmm
way that you love yourself. Does that make sense?
yes, it's just, what's crazy is I was just having that conversation the other day, and one of my friends, she was like, they say love comes when you least expect it, and
Yeah.
I was like, bullshit.
Yeah.
And she sent laughing emojis, and I said, last time I stopped looking for love, X, like
Sure.
insert name here,
Yeah.
came along.
Yeah.
And that was the one that just recently messaged me again after a couple of years.
Uh-huh.
Mind you, I sent her that text at 7:51 p.m. I
That's
scrolled my
crazy.
notification bar down. He had called me from no caller ID at 7:49. So like 3 minutes before I sent
Whoa.
her that text message, he had called me. I was like, no, this is devil shit. He is plotting this. So
He's got like a camera in your house or
yeah,
something.
yeah, he's doing some voodoo shit, and I don't like it. Some witchy woo bullshit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I try. I want to stay hopeful in saying that one day
You're
I
still
will.
really young though.
Yeah.
24 is really young. Like I'm
Mhm.
29 and a mom. I'm a single mom now. I'm
Mhm.
trying to like lose weight and everything from it. Not that that's important, but it is. I mean, like
Mhm.
people are shallow and stuff like that. You know, and it makes it even harder to be a single mom dating, let alone a single mom that needs to, that is thicker and everything like that. I mean, like, it just depends on who likes that or
Mhm.
not. But like, I mean, it definitely people will give you a harder time for it. I mean, that's just the
Yeah.
reality of it and it sucks. But ultimately, like, I know and I hope and I will always hold out hope that one day I will be able to experience like a calm love. That's
Yeah.
what I want, like a calm love, because I do tend to go for the guys that are like gonna take me for a roller coaster ride off the deep end. You know what I mean? And it's like
Yeah.
I want to get to a point in my life where I find it comfortable to not be with someone like that.
I definitely. I'm very like. I love like a Leo DiCaprio, like slick
Hmm.
back
Hmm.
tattoos from the neck down. I love a grungy man.
Yeah.
But half of those grungy men are traumatized. They are
Yeah,
so
I
traumatized.
typically always find the ones that are like selling crack on the side of the street, and I just love them. I don't know why. It's weird, but like two phones, and they ain't calling me off of either one because they're cheaters anyway. So
It's just
literally,
this generation of love is super super hard, and
it's really crazy.
I try to hold out hope that, everybody who's involved in my life that actually genuinely loves me and cares about me is also holding out hope that
Mhm.
I'm just going to end up with that romantic love story that I always deserved.
You
But
deserve it, and I think it will happen for you for sure.
but I mean, I try to hold out love and hope. Just it gets hard.
Yeah,
Character development aside, that shit is hard. I
yeah.
being somebody, and it's hard to get people to believe you,
Hmm.
but being somebody that has always gone through life with literally just the purest intentions. Like, I've never had a feeling in my body where, like, I looked at somebody and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a bitch. Like, I want to be
Hmm.
mean. I don't care. I don't care about their feelings.
Right,
That's never been me. I'm the person that smiles at babies. I'm the person
right.
that in public, I don't care about the judgment. I'm talking to your dog like it's a chipmunk. Absolutely.
Yeah.
High pitch and all. I go through
Yeah.
life with such pure intentions, and my
Hmm.
relationships with people, I go through them with such pure intentions, whether it's an
Hmm.
actual relationship or whether it's a friendship.
Yeah.
I never, ever, ever have hate in my body until somebody gives me a reason to have hate in my body. And somebody who has always been that way, who's always had that love, who's always had that care and passion in them, I've gone through way too many fucked up things.
Yeah, for
There's
sure.
no reason that I was given the heart that I have and I went through the shit that I did.
Just to not be loved back the same way that you
Exactly.
provide love. Yeah, no, that's
I
why I'm saying.
forgot. I was literally having this conversation the other day. I don't know if I was having it with somebody else or having it in my head. I don't know.
Mhm.
But I was literally thinking about, like, I genuinely feel like I've gone through possibly everything that somebody could imagine,
Yeah.
because I was just not dealt a good hand. Like, I
Hmm.
know some people come out the woodworks and they're like, okay, well, you were given this heart because you're supposed to show people how much they
Compassion. Yeah.
treating you the way that they did.
Oh,
You're
yeah, yeah.
you're supposed to give out all this love and care and compassion and passion and just all these feelings are just a ray of fucking sunshine that you pass through somebody's life and they dim your light, but you give them a little more. It's
Hmm.
just I gone through that so many times that I feel like my light was fully dimmed, and like I'm constantly fighting to relight it, to get it back. I could say everything that I've ever been through, but obviously the internet is rough, and I've already dealt with a couple of things being put out there that I've been
Hmm.
through, and it's not anybody's business as much as I want to be the open book that I just so am. But I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's hard, but I know it's easier said than done, but trust and believe. I've been dealt with so much shit, and I just can never wrap my finger around the shit that I've had to go through because of the kindness that I have in my
Yeah.
heart, because of the love that I have in my heart. And that's why it's hard to hold out hope, and that's why it's hard to just kind of sit here. And I know that I'm so desperate to find that partner, and I'm on Tinder, I'm on Hinge, I'm at the gym,
Oh,
and I got all these guys like coming up to me. I've got a couple of guys that are pissed at me right now because I'm flaking. But it,
yeah.
I'm at a point where like you really have to like grasp me in, and you have to check off all my boxes. You can
Right.
grasp
Or
every
else it's just not worth it. Like, I didn't just
yes,
leave my toxic ass relationship to go be in a relationship that doesn't fill my cup
exactly.
100%. Like,
I've
why? For that, I'll just go be back with my baby daddy. Like,
in the
why?
past in the past like 4 months, I think there were three that I visually and like some of the things that we're saying kind of grasped my attention. And like
Hmm.
physically, yeah, you checked off all my boxes, you're attractive, I can see myself standing next to you, I feel like we complement each other well. And then getting to know them, I was like, okay, you're spunky, you can banter with me, you're fun, you're exciting, you're thrilling.
Yeah.
And then I go the extra mile. People call me crazy, but you find shit out this way. The second you follow me on Instagram, babe, I'm checking that following.
Right.
And if it's a whole bunch of bitches, you
Yeah.
don't check off any of my boxes anymore.
Yeah.
Actually,
No
I
way.
can't be with somebody that's lustful like that. Like you talked about before, as soon as I turned 18, right out the gate, I felt like I had to give. I mean, not even right out the gate. I was doing it in high school. I felt like I had to give my body to people in order for them to like.
I didn't even lose my virginity till I was 17, but it was like once I did lose my like because I was always like adamant. I'm like, I'm not gonna just give this away. But then it like got to a point where I was like 17 and I'm like, all right, like I'm just like, what am I
That's
waiting
crazy. I
for?
lost mine at 14.
14, yeah, no, I waited till 17. I was like, real, I never did drugs. I never did anything. I was like, what's the point? And then I turned 17 and I'm just like, what am I doing with my life? This is so boring. Like, I'm like, might as well. So then I did it. It was horrible. Worst experience of my life, losing my virginity. I'm pretty sure the guy's in jail now somewhere. I don't know. I started out with the cool guy.
Mm.
And then yeah, then I like really I started partying from like 18 to 19 and then that's when me and my son's father got together and then we've been together ever since. So,
Yeah, it's been a hard route because you
yeah.
you go through life thinking that you just have to give your body to somebody. So now
Yeah.
it's like at a point where I meet somebody who's so lustful, you need multiple women to validate how you feel. You're not adding me to that fucking roster. I'm not doing
Yeah.
that for you. Absolutely
Mm-mm.
not. I want a man that is granted, I'm not super religious. I'm not somebody that like wholeheartedly believes in God. I believe that there's something there, but to put that in perspective, I believe in something. It's just easier to say it this way, but I want a God-fearing man. I
Yeah.
want a man that actually is willing to look for a future. And
Yeah.
I will say, going back to when I had said that, I can't go into too many specifics because it'll be obvious what, the situation was. I did meet somebody that was like that. I did
Yeah.
meet somebody that was like, this is over here on the table, but you just brought to me this new table. I want this.
Hmm.
He had dropped everything over here. And not necessarily he was God fearing. He didn't believe in God, but
Mm.
he believed in the same future that I did. He
Yeah, right.
was where have you been my whole life? You are everything that I've ever wanted and more.
Yeah.
There was one specific thing that kind of held him back from the relationship, but it wasn't that serious.
Yeah.
But it was everything aligned. I was like, oh my God, like I just found my person. This was so just unexpected. I just found my person.
Right.
And he still swept the rug out from underneath me and picked up the chair to that table. It's
Oh,
hard. It is so
it's so
hard.
hard. I mean, I can tell you as somebody who does believe in God and Jesus and everything like that, I'm not like overly religious or
Mhm.
anything, but I do believe in that. I do have a lot of faith. I will say that I choose to believe that God has someone for everyone, and that person would never make you. I've seen it's like a thing where it says the person that God has planned for you would never make you feel
That way.
like make you feel like you're not meant to be, like would never make you second guess yourself, will never make you question their
That's some,
loyalty.
that's something that's been in my head a lot recently.
Like there won't be no rug to sweep under because
Yeah.
like you're gonna literally be on like a flying carpet ride together. You
My
know what I
my
mean? Like
person my person
Aladdin type
wouldn't
shit.
my person wouldn't do that to me.
Yeah, no,
Or
your person wouldn't make you feel that way. You
you
know, your
see you
person isn't
see
going to be perfect. There's going to be
hmm
mistakes. We're human beings, but like ultimately the shit that you've been put through by A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you're not going to experience those things. And it's actually going to be like alarming because you're going to be like, wait, so you don't react that way to this? Or wait, so you're not going to put your hands on me? Or
hmm
you aren't going to cheat on me? Like you're,
hmm
you know, like all these things that
I've
you've
seen
experienced.
I've seen two separate type of videos recently, and one of which being, hey, sorry I cheated on you, LOL. That's okay. My future husband wouldn't do that to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry I hit you, LOL. That's okay. My future person wouldn't do that to me.
Right.
It's such a good thing to like live by. It gets easier that way.
Hmm.
As somebody who was so like infatuated with love, somebody that was
Hmm.
so infatuated with somebody being infatuated with me, it
Hmm.
gets easier when you look at it from that perspective. When you sit down and you go, oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
the person that's in store
Thank
for
you for
me
showing me
wouldn't do
your true
that.
intentions. Now I can move on to
Exactly.
get closer to finding my like relationship with my husband. But
And
yeah,
then
no, I mean, yeah,
there was
it's
also
crazy.
another one that was like, um, can you picture him holding your hair up on your sick days? There's your answer. Can
Yeah.
you picture him waking the kids up early and keeping them quiet so you can get some extra sleep? There's your
Hmm.
answer. Can
Can you
you
picture
see
him even
him?
changing a diaper in the first place? That's a big
Yeah,
one.
just like, can you see him doing all of these things
Hmm.
in your future in an actual relationship? And if you can't, because he's proven to you that you can't, there's your answer.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
keep fighting for somebody that doesn't want you. And
Yeah.
I did that for a whole year. Actually, collectively, I think like 5 years. But
Yeah.
to be in specifics, I would say my most recent relationship, that being 2021 to
Yeah.
2022, 2023 ish. Um, I definitely was like, no, I see my future with him. I see my future with him. And one thing that was set into perspective is that within 5 months, we had gone through the same thing.
Hmm.
Um, I had lost Julian. He had lost somebody in his life.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, he needed to like be with the family for a couple of days, obviously. Like his friends, his family. He needed to grieve that person.
Hmm.
She was like, the second he needed you, where were you? And I was like,
Hmm.
I was there. I was there immediately. I was right
Hmm.
there. I was like, you can come to my house right now. You're not going anywhere else. I got you. I'm here. Making
Hmm.
sure you're eating, making sure that you are okay, that you mentally you're going to be okay. She was like, when you lost Julian, where was he? I went to that wake by myself. And because he had been in a car accident, so I didn't think that I would see him. So I went to that wake by myself and it was open casket.
Oh.
And I was by myself and I had to see that man laying there by himself. By the time I left and got to my car, I was inconsolable. I was crying so hard. My eyes immediately were puffy. I could not see out of them. I hit my knees in the parking lot. I could not breathe.
Hmm.
When I called him and I told him I needed you, He made me wait for 4 hours. And when
Julian?
she, Julian, when she told me that,
Sorry, dark humor.
yeah, no, I get it. It processed in my brain.
Yeah.
When she put that in perspective for me, I was like, oh, so yeah, I really can't see him do shit because we went through the same exact thing and I was there for him immediately and he was not there
Mhm.
for me at all. And obviously the back of my brain, I'm like, okay, well, at the same time though, everybody processes grief differently. He went through it before I did, so maybe it was just like triggering for him. No,
No, he
I
should have been there for
can't
you.
do that because even though it was a hard thing for me, I had no idea what I was doing. I just instantly followed through with him. I was there for him when he needed it. He was not there for me when I needed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where I should have
Yeah.
that should have been done for me 5 months
No,
and that's
for
it.
sure.
But I still continued it for another 6 months because I
Yeah,
was
it's
like,
because you
no,
make
I see
you're
it.
making excuses to
Mhm.
hopefully like ignore like what the like potential red flags are and everything like that.
Yes.
But I mean, here's the thing, like I've gotten to know you a little bit. Like I don't know you. I mean, this is like the most I've ever like gotten to know you on my
Hmm.
podcast, but I think you're an amazing person. I think you're so kind and so wonderful and so fun. I love you. Like I just think you have such a great aura about you and a great energy. So I do believe like you've got a lot of life to live. Like, I'm 29. I feel like I've got like the rest of my 30s and 40s and stuff like that. So like I can only hope that like something good happens for me. But like I can tell you just as an outsider, I think you're such a great person. I think you're gonna be able to find somebody who's going to love you. I think it starts with us like learning to love ourselves. And then once
Hmm.
we like have that love for ourselves that we're just like, well, I don't need anybody. I love myself enough. Then eventually that's when we'll find that person who is going to be the person that like changes our life for the
Hmm.
better, and just adds to it, not like
Takes
makes
from
it,
it
yeah, not takes from it. Exactly.
your
I feel like I've gotten to
questions.
know you in such a beautiful way, and I just really appreciate you being so vulnerable and everything. And
Of course.
um yeah, so anyway, thank you for coming on my podcast. I really
Of course.
appreciate it. I
Thank you for
really
having me.
appreciate it. I think it's so wonderful of you. And you guys, thank you for watching and supporting. Don't forget to subscribe. Definitely follow Kiera on her socials. I don't know if you're like active right now on them or not, but
I am. I'm probably gonna I can put my link tree back in my TikTok bio. I don't know.
what's your TikTok username?
It's Kekexela.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, so give her a follow. And you guys remember, I am not a tea page. I'm just a mom spilling the tea for other moms and nosy bitches like you and me. And Kiera, thank you so much for your time. I love you. And
Thank you for having
everybody have a great night.